Season 4 of The Dragon Prince has just gone a lot more real with a November 3rd release date and the hype following New York Comic Con. Oh yeah, and the show's now rated PG, so I can't wait to see what they do with that. Right, let's not waste any more time, here are the chapters, let's go. One of the first things you might have noticed is how odd the music sounds at the beginning. I reversed the audio, but it doesn't come up with anything. So I guess that's just how it is. If you've been keeping up with the other clips that have been released, particularly those from NYCC, then you'll have seen these shots in the cave with Claudia and Viren, so I won't go over them again. We see Rosé fly over a colourful expansive forest at the base of a mountain. The trailer shows a lot of scenes from episode 1 of the new season. I know it's episode 1 because of a Twitter thread from those at the NYCC event. We see that Ibis and Zim have become quite close. Then another episode 1 scene of Callum's party, where he quickly casts a spell in shock before cancelling it harder than a league player wants to cancel their opponent's ult. We also see some familiar faces, and by that I mean 2. Afterwards we see the lead up to Callum talking about Rayla leaving on his birthday. If you're confused, read the Through the Moon graphic novel. It's the canonical connector between seasons 3 and 4. We cut to Callum holding one of her blades, which we saw as a still just a week or 2 ago, and then we get the word love in there.
You still love her, don't you?
Really killing the fandom one step at a time. But like, does he really love her? Because I love Rosé, Rayla, your mum.
This spell will only bring you back for 30 days.
Is very important and has been semi-circling the fandom since NYCC, but Claudia says that Viren will only be alive for 30 days. Like I said in my last Dragon Prince video, it's similar to Rayla's binding as Claudia is now under a lot of pressure to complete a task before there's major consequences. They brought my girl Stella from Winx Club into this franchise, but they decided to fuse her with Golem first. I don't know, maybe I'm being too harsh, but it's kinda terrifying. It most likely has or knows the location of something needed to keep Viren alive. I've also seen the idea thrown around that it's a creature from Aravos, but I'm not entirely sure I agree.
We need to find him and free him.
This line is incredibly misleading. Claudia is still very much talking to her dad in the cave in reference to Aravos missing in some capacity from the cocoon, not Callum. Very interesting choice for the figure too. The previous teaser shown for an incredibly similar shot has Aravos holding Viren instead. I think it's safe to say that the shot in this trailer is actually in the show, because they didn't want to spoil the characters' designs earlier. At least we know that Callum isn't going to be doing so good in the well-being department this season. What am I on about? Callum, shut the fuck up. I'm stressed as anything, and if my mental health was on a graph, it would look something like this. Yeah, exactly, because my well-being's down here. The only thing Callum has over me is his hot moon elf girlfriend gone missing.
What?
Oh yeah, and he's holding the key of Aravos too. We see a quick shot from a clip we've already seen, Callum feeling the mirror. We see a quick shot from a clip we've already seen, Callum fingering the mirror, oh god. Him and Bait are in his office with the star primal symbol being illuminated on the key of Aravos. I have 2 theories. He's managed to turn the mirror on or something like that. Oh, for fuck. Or 2, Aravos is attempting to summon the cube in some way. Also, that is 100% the tome of translation Callum's holding, so this must be a later episode. Zoom and enhance? Yep, just what I thought. Rayla. Good Callum. Aravos does whatever this is and breaks his lovely mirror. Clearly he doesn't understand the value of such a vintage piece, because someone hasn't watched Fixer Upper with Chip and Joanna. But the broken mirror is a similar idea to some promotional art that was released quite recently. Not sure what this staff is, but it appears to be a non-corrupted version of Ibis's staff. You'll see why I specify soon. Callum's voice lines are getting a little concerning.
In darkness, gaze upon a fallen star.
The fallen star idea is coming back up again. Rosé flies past. Then we're doing some dragon racing, but someone decided for just a few frames to shift the layers around just a tad. Ezran admits he did a boo-boo.
I denied something that is undeniable.
Wow, the 12-year-old leading an entire kingdom made a major mistake. Who would have thought? He makes an announcement or speech near where I think Sarai's grave is, and the picture behind him is torn through the bit where the dragon was. And you can see Ezran and Zim standing in the foreground of the picture. Opeli, Callum, Soren and Corvus are also there, or maybe that's associate Crowlord. The design's a little whack. Soren on the other hand. We get to see a part of Janai and Amaya's wedding, and I think Janai looks really nice here. I'm not sure what this tree's doing though. Then we're back at the Storm Spire, so you know everything's about to be just fine. They're actually so cute though, I adore this shot, all 1.5 seconds of it. Staying on Claudia, she's probably looking for one of the things needed to keep Viren alive, and she's completely surrounded with gold coins. There's a vase down this corner, a barrel over here, a Sunfire Elf shield in the back, so I'm guessing this place was a vault in the Sunfire Elf's kingdom that they were forced to abandon or something. And then obviously the chest in the middle with Viren's old star flying out, summoned by Ibis. We can tell Claudia was here first because the fire for these torches are green, which according to my 10th grade chemistry teacher means that she used copper sulfate. We then actually cut to them fighting and get a better look at the structure and architecture of wherever they are, and I don't recognize it from anywhere particularly. And going back to what I mentioned before, notice how his staff seems corrupted with dark magic. We see a nicer angle of the chest that Viren's staff came out of and another larger chest that's closed. Claudia deflects the spell. We next cut to her straddling him in a really Can I say that? No. She's trying to kill him with the tooth of something, but he's holding her hand up so she can't, and he's using her other hand to choke her neck. The next shot has Claudia lying face down on the ground as Ibis begins a lightning spell, with the symbol being incredibly prominent, but I can't find anything significant on it. Again though, don't let the order of the trailer deceive you, I don't think these sequences are chronological. Up next is what appears to be a funeral. I'm going to guess maybe Fifi because of the marking on each of the bird's cheeks. However, in saying that, it equally could be Ibis's. The rosés and petals swirl around the center, and the pattern on the sheet looks somewhat familiar. The sheet looks like an Arctic fox jumping off a cliff, or maybe that's just me, and we get to see Rayla's time skip design for the first time, and Basin Zim. Something very large smashes these grand doors open with rocks, which I'll presume to be Rex Igneous, as better shown in this promotional poster from a little while ago. Although it could be the introduction of some of the golem creatures. He's an earth dragon and only surfaces every 100 years, so you know something important is about to go down between him and the Dragon Queen.
Queen, slay! Slay!
He shows up in the trailer again shortly, which I'll point out in a second. And then there's whatever these are. I don't know, it kinda looks like Sheik Attack from Hyrule or something with the runes, but it's pretty cool. We then witness a trial of someone who's actually going to be killed. This scene has definitely been taken out of the actual context, and these shots are not really back to back in the show. This symbol clearly comes from Sol Regum and has appeared quite a lot, so there's something going on there. Viren falls off a cliff. My guess is a lack of oxygen, similar to Ez, Callum and Rayla when they were climbing the Storm Spire. And Terry just lets his girlfriend's dad die like that. We then cut to Callum doing a lightning spell similar to Ibis's, and he seems to be using his staff, but with his own scarf wrapped around it. Perhaps Ibis died to Claudia? I'm also not sure I believe Callum struck this monster thing. I feel like he might have used the spell against Claudia, although the monster was going after bait, so maybe this is the correct following shot. Soren discovers something at the bottom of this insane bore pit. Aravos clicks his fingers, or clenches his hand. I feel like the animators couldn't really decide. Again, notice how they're trying to make you think Callum is being controlled here because his use of dark magic directly follows Aravos. While I do 100% think Callum will be manipulated by Aravos, I don't think this will be it. Callum in this shot specifically is probably doing something on his own free will. However, the fact that he uses dark magic again at all isn't a great step in the right direction, I'll be honest. This close-up of the eye is guaranteed Rex Igneous because we can see the same markings both here and in the poster. Zim is then guiding Callum, who's holding bait, Ezran and a mother and child out of a fissure. A fissure, you say? Oh come on, not you guys too. Notice the subtle scene change. Zim does a toothless and summons lightning and maybe goes invisible? What would I know? More of those Stranger Things monsters close in on them as Zim charges up whatever he's doing. Lightning seems to be coming up a lot this season. The Dragon Queen roars at several different species of that golem thing from before, so they most definitely have a greater plot importance to this season. It appears each of them are connected to a different primal too, and 3 people can be seen in the background. I'm guessing Rayla, Callum, and that might be Soren. We get to see Callum's wings in action as well. I can't tell where this actually is, but it should be at the castle. It might be a part of the first episode when Callum flippy flappy birds over to check on Ezran after the lights go out in his tower, which leads to the surprise party. Almost like he was staying up from the night before being upset about Rayla. If you skip straight here, hi. The final 8 seconds are incredibly dense, so I'll be working just about frame by frame, so bear with me here. Fading from black, we see Callum in his own tower or room right as he begins to turn around. Right, let's pause here. The mirror that Aravos was trapped in can be seen on the left, but as you'll remember, we saw it in his office earlier in the trailer. So my current theory is, when the mirror was in his office earlier, that's later on in the season, and I believe this to be the case too with the key of Aravos. Then this current shot is episode 2 or 3. There's also a box down the corner on a table that looks very similar to a box that housed the moon moth. So perhaps Callum was trying to track Rayla. Oh, the key of Aravos is being held by a lemur monkey thing. Anyways, I'm super curious to hear what Rayla's named her new pet friend. So Rayla used her cloaking ability to get inside the castle. She has new gloves, a cloak with a crescent moon pin, a new tunic, the same belt with clasp, armor is better seen. Cutting back to Callum, there's nothing particularly important to see. The next shot is Rayla coming out of using her moon shadow powers so we can see her a lot clearer as she steps into the candlelight. She also has his pouch strapped to her leg, and after a close shot, an awesome hairstyle. We get a better look at this animal and the fact that it's connected to the star primal. It's possible that Rayla also has a mask or some other protective headgear, as the collar on her tunic comes up a bit, similar from Valka from How to Train Your Dragon 2. Rayla's also brought back that braid she lost in Season 1. The next shot is Rayla turning towards the camera, and I personally love this shot. I'll make a very hopeful and bold statement about this scene. She could be hugging Callum and then hears something at the door, but that is incredibly optimistic. She does seem somewhat surprised about what or who's there, but doesn't really do anything that we see of after the fact. So it's probably something or someone familiar. Next up, there's an Earthblood elf riding a flying dinosaur lizard. I really don't know how to describe it, but you can look at it yourself and let me know in the comments. Rayla hops across the screen and we get a great look at her hair again. A bun tied back with a braid and what I'm going to call fluffette strands. Can you tell I love her hairstyle? She has both her blades too and doesn't seem to be carrying much, if anything, so it's likely this happens after she's gone back to the castle. Why the other elf is chasing Rayla I can't say, but I think it's likely that she's on their territory and they're trying to capture her in some capacity. And the voice line she has over this I think will be directed towards Rex.
Come and get me, big guy!
The final shot of the trailer is Rayla leaping up from some unseen ground, which has to be pretty low based on the rest of the surroundings, suggesting again how strong she's become, even more so than before, and she drives the blades into the rock to pull herself up. So, what was shown? More footage from episode 1, Aravos' manipulation, the mirror, the key of Aravos, Ibis and Viren's staff, Claudia, Rosé, a new dragon, golem creatures, a sunfire elf trial, Sol Regum, Viren's limited life, and Rayla. I'm super excited for this season and I can't believe it's just around the corner after all this time. If you want more Dragon Prince videos, please let me know in the comments. I think season 4 will provide some amazing topics to theorize about and analyze, and I'm hoping you'll be interested. I really hope you enjoyed. Please consider leaving a like or even subscribing. It really helps me out.